Hello, my happy crumpers, and welcome back to Happy Crumping War Gaming. Today, we are going to be doing mathematical breakdowns of the Mega Knobs. What can these guys actually do? Is it worth taking guns and a variety of other things that are really important to know about your Mega Knobs? Because Mega Knobs are pretty damn important to the Codex as a whole. So let's jump right into it. All right, so basically, I started with a study. And what is the purpose of the study? We were interested in which weapons to take on Mega Knobs, because there are three setups to really consider. We have Twin Kill Saw, we have Power Claw and Kill Saw, or a Power Claw and a gun. Now, to set the stage, I am interested in these three cases. We got to figure out what is going to be the correct loadout for our Mega Knobs, because everyone's going to argue and they're going to tell you they know, but only I know. Only I actually know. Other people would have probably done the math as well, but this is actually definitively what is the correct loadout. Anyway. So we got three cases for the Mega Knobs. What do they do when there are no buffs? What do they do when they're in the WA? And then what do they do hitting power-wise when they're with Ghaz in the WA? Because these are really different things. Now, for real efficiency values, we should also consider our reroll to hit strat, but our percentage increase in like how much damage these guys actually do is going to be the same for all weapons, so it doesn't actually matter for the purpose of this analysis. So, is the gun's damage irrelevant is the first question. And the answer is no, it's not irrelevant, but basically, yes, it's irrelevant because it's pretty bad. There are several reasons, however, why you will never want to use the guns, even if the gun's damage was relevant. For example, they can give you an advance and charge. They are not pistols. I'm sorry, if you're advancing and charging, you can't shoot the gun because it's not assault. They're not pistols, so they can't be shot in melee, so you can't do actions while you're in melee, and they can make a charge harder if you do happen to kill things. So this is a real study for the guns. And for those of you who are still saying, but Jonathan, I know, because I run my Mega Knobs, and one time I shot, and I dealt 27 wounds to a monolith, and just blew the monolith up with my Mega Knobs custom shooters. Well, let's break down the math on that. Okay. All right, so this is called a PPP chart, all right? And one of my teammates and really good friends, Sveinung, he's at Ponder on Discord. If you find him, he's a legend. He's a rock star. We love him. He created these things. And essentially what these charts do is they are points. They are showing you points spent per points kill. So, for example, the score will actually refer to the amounts of points spent on your unit killing an enemy unit's efficiency. So, if we see a PPP value of 1, it will mean that 100 points of your unit kills 100 points of X enemy unit in one activation. Other ways to describe it is how many turns of activation does it take to get your money back on, or your points back on your unit. But effectively, a PPP of 1 means that 100 points of your unit kills 100 points of the enemy unit in one activation, on average, because mathematics is all about averages. So, if we're looking at the custom shooter or the combi weapon, this chart, you see a bunch of really red numbers. Whenever we're looking at any of these charts, we're going to look at a bunch of them over the course of this video. Red means it sucks. Green means it's good. So if your custom shooters are shooting from your Mega Knobs into Arcoflagellants, it's going to take you 8.1 turns to make your points back in killing Arcoflagellants. That is awful. And remember, it doesn't matter if you're shooting with 6 Mega Knobs. It doesn't matter if you're shooting with 18 Mega Knobs. This chart shows points per points. So how many turns does it take to earn your points back in the damage that you cause? It would actually take you, if you had 300 points of Mega Knobs, which you can't really do because you can't take a unit that big, but if you had 300 points of Mega Knobs and you were shooting at, say, Magnus the Red, it would take you 23.6 turns to kill 300 points of Magnus the Red, which still wouldn't even kill Magnus the Red because he's worth more points than that. It is ludicrous. It would take you 50 turns of shooting with 300 points of Mega, or with 180 points of Mega Knobs to kill 180 points of a Lehman Russ. 50 turns to actually do that on average. The shooting is awful. It is super, super bad. It is garbage bad. The combi weapon is better than the custom shooter, to be fair. But it is still amazingly awful. There's one weird outlier where it's like randomly just really bad into obliterators instead of the worst shooting unit in the game. But essentially what this chart shows is that guns on Mega Knobs is possibly, this might be the worst damage chart I've seen in the entire game for the points. It's abysmal. So yeah, let's get into case 1, base. Now, pre-math thoughts, okay? the twin kill saw is really, really good because it just absolutely smashes. You get the AP3, you get the reroll wound rolls, but it's only got 2 attacks. So I'm really curious how this is going to go. Maybe the power claw is good into some of the targets just because of the more attacks. And since Ghaz gives lethals on 5-up anyway, and guns suck, maybe a single kill saw, I don't know. Maybe a kill saw might be really bad, so you take a gun anyway because the gun is really good with Ghaz's unit. But on the other units, we're probably not going to want the gun. So let's just run the numbers here, okay? All right. PPP values. Remember, we're looking at points spent per points killed. So if we have 100 points of Mega Knobs, it would take us 3 turns with our Power Claw to kill 100 points worth of Arcoflagellants. That's a really bad trade. So effectively, Mega Knobs suck into Arcoflagellants. They also suck into Termagants. They also suck into Battle Sisters. They're not good into Gene Stealers, but it's getting into the effectively acceptable range. They're real bad into Necron Warriors. They're pretty bad into Marines. This first column, this first row here, we see Power Claw, and it goes all the way around, so that's the top row. And then for Kill Saws, it's the middle row. And then for Twin Kill Saw, it's the bottom row. And one thing that we notice is I've got some units highlighted here. So if we're going into like Purgators, actually Twin Kill Saws start to outperform Power Claws with a 1.8 PPP, meaning it would take you 1.8 turns to kill your amount of points, versus the 2.3 Power Claw. Now, this is not in the WoW. This is not with Ghaz. This is just base Mega Knobs hitting on 4s. Okay, so it's not necessarily like great. Twin Power Saw gets a lot better in, or Twin Kill Saw gets a lot better into Armor of Contempted Terminators. It's basically identical into Bullgrin. Mega Knobs basically just suck into Bullgrin. It's a little bit better in Inceptors. It's better into Obliterators, Scout Sentinels. Overall, the numbers aren't great. Your Mega Knobs aren't actually really good at dealing damage. Now, the deal is, it doesn't really matter because Mega Knobs' purpose is not dealing damage. But if we want to optimize our loadout, what can we do? So let's take it to the next level here, all right? Case 1. Power Claws are supposed to be the anti-chaff weapon. Kill Saws are really good into tough targets. So, as we can see from the above, this is actually true. But Power Claws really don't maintain their chaff clearing ability for very long when we go up the toughest ladder. While they're like 25% better than Kill Saws and Termagants, as soon as we get to things like your Necron Warriors, we're actually back to a draw. So, note also how many targets the Humble Kill Saw is better than the Power Claw into. And, no, not many, right? Like the single Kill Saw by itself, honestly, doesn't really beat the Power Claw very often. It's a slightly better into the Land Raider, slightly better into the Night Rampager, but it's like, when you get into anything else, it's just worse than a Power Claw. So effectively, you never really want to use just a Kill Saw outside of the WoW. But let's kick it up a notch, because we're orcs and we want to crump, so we want to know what we do in the actual WoW. To my surprise, and this is surprising, Wawing actually makes the Power Claw look a bit better compared to the Kill Saw than before. Because I had expected the 50% versus 33% attack boost to dominate, but apparently, Power Claws with Strength 10, it gets you to a breakpoint where Power Claws become a lot more valuable inside the wall than outside the wall. So this leads us to have a conversation about, do we want different loadouts for our Mega Knobs based on which detachment they're in? So Power Claws are probably a lot better in Bully Boys than they would be, say, in Warhordes, simply because you're going to get 2 turns of that Strength 10 Power Claw. It's actually a really interesting conversation. So now we can see the numbers start getting a lot better. When we go to the Purgator here, or the Purgator, suddenly our Twin Kill Saws have a PPP of 1.2, and the Power Claw goes to 1.4, which previously it was 1.8 and 2.3 respectively. So it actually gets way better in the WoW. The WoW makes them way, way killier. So when we start seeing Inceptors at 1.1, this is a very good, because if you're effectively killing your points worth every turn, that is very good. A 1.0 is fantastic for killing potential, because I've done these for a bunch of different units. Then we go to case number 2. All right, so we're still in case number 2. We're in the WoW. And the only real reason when we're in the WoW to bring a Kill Saw over gun is into Terminators, opposing Mega Knobs, or T11 plus targets. So I actually think that's a good enough reason to bring the Kill Saw, a Power Claw and Kill Saw, so that you can switch to the Kill Saw for those targets. I think that's a good reason to take that over a gun. So we see all these numbers. These are actually really interesting. Twin Kill Saw is actually a 1.1 into a Land Raider, which is really freaking good. A 0.8 into a Night Rampager. Suddenly, when we're in the wall, our dudes are dealing damage. Now, let's go to the wall with Ghaz. Now, remember, for all you gentle grots, Ghaz will give +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and during the wall phase, you get lethals on 5s, which is very, very important. And this is done without Warhorde, so we're not including sustained here, okay? So this is just pretend it's literally any other detachment other than Warhorde. So suddenly when we are in the wall with Ghaz, and remember the top column is going to be the power claw, the middle column is going to be the kill saw, single kill saw, and the bottom column is going to be the twin kill saw. Suddenly we start seeing some really, really fascinating things, and there's almost no difference at all. So this is going to be the unit that is with Ghaz getting the crits on 5s. Toughness almost doesn't matter at all. Only the amount of attacks and the save actually influences our decisions on which weapon we're going to utilize. So even if you're attacking a Land Raider, a kill saw is effectively the same thing as a twin kill saw. It makes basically no difference at this point when you're getting your lethals on 5s, which is really kind of wild. And since you're going to be wounding it on 2s anyway, because with Mr. Ghazcool, you're at +1 to wound during the WA, it effectively makes no difference whether you have a twin kill saw or a normal kill saw. So here, when we're looking at these numbers, they get a little bit freaking wild. Actually, your Mega Nob unit gets 0.8 into a Land Raider, which is crazy killing potential. That is fan-freaking-tastic. They're actually good into about everything except for Bullgrin. So your unit with Ghaz will annihilate Obliterators. They're annihilating Raiders, Rhinos, Psychophages, Riptide, everything in the game that is hard to kill. The only thing they're really not good into is Bullgrin, other Mega Nobs, because other Mega Nobs are just tough as jerks, and then into like a lot of chaff. So they're bad into Termagants. They're never going to be good in Termagants. They're just too cheap to ever want to waste your Mega Nobs into it. So let's go to a conclusion. Twin kill saws are just very good into tough targets on average, and it's absolutely going to be worth losing attack over on most of your units. A kill saw is actually a very good complement to a power claw. And this is absolutely going to be worth losing your gun over because that kill saw does make you much better into your T11 units or your AOC units, for example. Then if you're taking both Ghaz and a Power Claw unit, Ghaz you want to be running with the Power Claws because the Power Claws during the Ghaz Wah is effectively the same thing as a Twin Kill Saw. You just get more attacks. And this is done simply because you get to that brutal strength 10 with your +1 to wound, and you're getting your lethals on 5s anyway. This can be further buffed due to strats and stuff. But so effectively, your Ghaz unit, you're going to want them to at least have access to a Power Claw. I'm probably just going to run them with a Power Claw with a Kill Saw. And then your other units, you're probably going to want to go Twin Kill Saws. That is effectively the correct way, mathematically proven, to be outfitting all of our Mega Nobs. Now, I've got a bonus here for you, because I like giving bonuses. Check this bad boy out. I just really, really wanted to see the maximal amount of damage that I could get out of this unit. And so we did it in Warhorde for this particular chart. Now, this chart is not PvP. This is just total amount of damage. What does a 6-man unit of Twin Kill Saws led by Ghaz do in Warhorde? So effectively, if this unit punches into a Land Raider, the top row is going to be Ghaz and the Twin Kill Saws. The next column is going to be just the 6 Kill Saws, and then the bottom 2 are going to be Ghaz's Strike and Sweep. So one really interesting thing I wanted to point out here is in the WA, in Warhorde, so he's getting sustained and lethal hits on 5s to hit. You are seeing Ghaz with his strike profile deal 16 damage to an Armor of Contented Land Raider by himself. Meaning Ghaz by himself into an Armor of Contented Land Raider will one-shot a Land Raider on average. That is unbelievable, the amount of damage that comes out of it. The Mega Nobs will also do 16 damage on average to a Land Raider. So if you just happen to be able to charge 2 Land Raiders and put Ghaz into one of them and all 6 of your Mega Nobs into the other, you'll pick up 2 Land Raiders on average with this one unit, which is crazy. It's absolutely bananas. So the damage is just totally ludicrous and hilarious. This is really, really fun stuff. So I really like running these math equations. They actually 100% help us decide what we actually need to outfit our units with. I will not share these sheets with you guys, although I share them with you in video. No, you cannot have them. They will, however, be available to members in the Discord. I will post them up for members in the Discord to take them because, yes, that's how it's going to be, baby. So hopefully this was really helpful for helping to inform you how to load out your Mega Nobs. The answer is going to be, if they're running with Ghaz, you want them a Power Claw and a Kill Saw, and if they're running anywhere else, you probably want Twin Kill Saws. This is just the way it works. This is the way to run your Mega Nobs, in my opinion, and in mathematics opinions. So hopefully this was really beneficial for you. I want you to take your Mega Nobs, and I want you to go crush your opponents and enjoy crumping. And until next time, this was Happy Crumpin' Wargaming, and I hope all of you guys enjoy your life.